Bertrand Russell once said, "War does not determine who is right, only who is left." When studying history, we tend to try not to bother ourselves with determining who is in the right and who is in the wrong. The answer is usually already assumed to be clear. Just like when we look at World War II, we can see that Hitler was the bad guy. Mexican-American War is one of the few wars that is actually taught in public schools to have been an unjust war. However, the justice is still highly debated. Based on the definition of a just war given by St. Thomas Aquinas, the Mexican-American War of the 19th century can be said to have been a just war. St. Thomas Aquinas, in his Summa Theologica, uses St. Augustine's notes on just war theory as a guide to give 3 requirements for a just war. The first requirement is proper authority. Aquinas says, "It is not the business of a private individual to declare war, because he can seek for redress of his rights from the tribunal of his superior. Instead," he says, "the authority of the sovereign, by whose command the war is to be waged." Further, in O'Brien's 1981 book, The Conduct of a Just and Limited War, he says, "War must be waged on the order of public authorities for public purposes. It is not the responsibility for a private individual to declare war in an entire country. Rather, it is the governing authority of that country to declare war." According to the U.S. Constitution, this proper authority is Congress. The President of the United States must make a formal speech requesting that Congress declare war, and then Congress can put the proposal to vote. On May 11, 1846, President Polk made the speech to Congress before America. In his speech, he outlines the attack on the U.S. troops at the Rio Grande the month before and urged Congress to declare war. He explained that his decision to propose war, saying he felt the war was the most certain and efficient means of bringing the existing collision with Mexico to a speedy and successful termination. Aquinas' first requirement is therefore met. The war was proposed and declared through the proper authorities. Second, Aquinas says a war must have just cause. He says those who are attacked should be attacked because they deserve it on account of some fault. It would be unjust for a country to declare war against another for personal gain or out of petty disagreements. There must have been a strong injustice done. It is, however, just to declare war as a punishment. In the case of the Mexican-American War, this injustice was the attack on U.S. troops. Because Mexico entered onto American soil uninvited, attacking and killing 11 American soldiers in an act of open hostility against the United States, it is justifiable for the U.S. to seek retribution. War was not declared because Mexico was weak or because America sought to attain something of Mexico for their own personal gain, but because they had specifically showed and enacted aggression, ignoring attempts for peace. Aquinas' final requirement is rightful intention. Aquinas says that for war to be declared with rightful intention, the intentions must be that of peace and not out of personal gain or cruelty. The ultimate goal of the war was peace with Mexico. In order for this to be proven true and used as an example of rightful intention, all attempts of peace must have been exhausted by the U.S. In Polk's war message, he explains that in September of the previous year, the U.S. had asked Mexico if they would accept an envoy to negotiate a peaceful situation. Mexico accepted under the government of General Herrera. An envoy was sent to the capital, but upon arrival discovered that a revolution had taken place in Mexico and that General Herrera had been replaced. This new governor rejected the envoy and thus rejected any other attempts of peace made by the United States. In conclusion, after analyzing the Mexican-American War and comparing it to the standards of just war given by St. Thomas Aquinas, it can be said to have been a just war. Today, I have explained and outlined just war theory of St. Thomas Aquinas, showing how the actions made in the Mexican-American War correlate with the standards. While some may be content to accept the standards that they learn in school, I feel it is important to do our own research and learn for ourselves. As members of a democratic republic, the burden of the government lies with the people, and if we abdicate our responsibility by being ignorant, then we are guilty of the injustices of our government. We must take charge and know what it means for a country to act justly, otherwise the blood is on our hands.